For decades, neuroscientists and cognitive researchers have peered into the dense, synaptic labyrinths of the human brain, attempting to locate the central controller running headquarters behind our eyes. We live under the persistent intuition that a singular I commands choices and authors our thoughts. Yet modern neuroimaging reveals a startling consensus. There is nobody home. The brain features no master executive suite. Instead, consciousness behaves like a symphony orchestra performing without a conductor, where billions of neurons fire across specialized networks in spontaneous, self-organizing harmony. What we mistake for a solid self is actually an emergent process, a fluid cascade of neurological signals arising in a vast, luminous emptiness. Picture a slab of stone resting on a hillside after a torrential rainstorm. While the top surface dries rapidly in the sun, a shallow hollow beneath the bottom edge quietly holds clear, pooling water. Human consciousness operates under this exact principle. It is not an active, muscular entity fighting for territory, but a quiet, open space wherein thoughts, sensory perceptions, and memories continuously emerge, linger, and fade away. The primary obstacle in self-discovery stems from mistaking our noisy internal narrator for pure awareness. The internal narrator is the persistent voice in your head that never stops talking, analyzing, or predicting. It operates through storytelling mode, which constructs dramatic narratives out of random events; judgment mode, which measures your worth against imaginary benchmarks; and cheerleader mode, which attempts to manage reality through positive commentary. These modes represent the conditioned mind attempting to maintain control through constant verbal chatter. Pure awareness operates in absolute silence. While the internal narrator is trapped in past regrets and future anxieties, pure awareness is anchored perpetually in the present moment, observing without evaluation. The narrator is like passing weather, clouds, rain, and thunderstorms, while pure awareness is the infinite, untouched sky in which all weather occurs. When anxiety arises, the narrator composes a dramatic story about it, while pure awareness quietly registers the physical sensation and its eventual disappearance without taking a side. When an individual rests in pure awareness, they discover that consciousness is not private property. The witnessing space inside you is utterly indistinguishable from the witnessing space inside anyone else. Imagine dozens of light bulbs encased in different lampshades. While the shades vary in color and texture, the exact same electric current powers every bulb. Our individual memories and cultural conditioning are merely the lampshades. The space that notices them is universal, the exact same awareness that has observed every epoch of human history. This internal narrator feels frantic because of deep mental conditioning running like subsurface software. From early infancy, the mind absorbs cultural programming regarding success, family patterns that scan for threats, and existential beliefs about worthiness. Psychological tools like gratitude journaling can rewrite this software into kinder commentary. But even a compassionate narrator remains a mental construct. True peace requires stepping off the stage entirely to recognize the timeless space watching the software run. If you examine what has remained constant throughout your life, you realize your body, personality, and beliefs have completely transformed. Yet the witnessing presence that observed you at 5 years old is identical to the one observing you today. That witnessing presence has no age, gender, or expiration date. Realizing your fundamental identity is this timeless awareness changes your relationship to mortality and aging, reframing physical transitions as shifting scenery passing before an immortal observer. This dynamic of human interaction aligns with the ancient Taoist concept of buzheng, or non-contention. Most conflicts rely on an unexamined agreement that the game being played is real. This is mirrored in game theory's dollar auction, where two bidders ruinously bid past $1 for a single dollar bill, because escalating feels smarter than accepting a small loss. The trap is built into the room itself. Buzheng offers a radical escape. Refuse to place a bid. Stepping off the board exposes the game as an arbitrary energy trap. This competitive friction is dramatically illustrated in Finland's national epic, the Kalevala. The sage Väinämöinen and the arrogant Youkahainen lock their wooden sledges together on a narrow forest track cut through deep snow. Rather than stepping off into the wide, open winter terrain on either side, Youkahainen demands a duel of power and ends up chanted down into a sinking bog. Both men risked everything over a few inches of track because they were blinded by the drive to prove superiority, ignoring the endless open ground stretching out beside them. Modern physics mirrors this ancient wisdom through the quantum mechanics phenomenon of wave function collapse. Prior to measurement, subatomic particles exist in a state of pure potentiality, collapsing into a concrete reality only upon observation. This matches the ancient Indian Upanishads, which define the foundation of reality as Atman, the unchanging observer. The Upanishads describe this state as Sat Chit Ananda, pure existence, absolute consciousness, and unbounded bliss, forming a single, seamless reality that becomes accessible once mental noise drops away. To guide seekers, the Vedantic tradition distilled its realizations into 4 Mahavakyas, or great sayings. Tat Tvam Asi, thou art that, declares you are the luminous field of awareness. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, realizes the drop of water is the ocean. Ayam Atma Brahma, this self is Brahman, reveals your innermost witness as the absolute creative force. Prajnaman Brahma, consciousness is Brahman, establishes that consciousness is the primary fabric of reality. These statements act as switches to awaken direct recognition of what is already present. Western Stoics like Marcus Aurelius developed practical methods to achieve this exact distance, reminding himself that holding power over the mind, rather than external events, creates true strength. Suffering does not stem from events themselves, but from our unexamined judgments about them. Rain delaying a flight carries no intrinsic emotional charge. Suffering is created entirely when the internal narrator demands that reality be different. Stepping into the observer's seat transforms you from an emotional reactor into a sovereign witness. Human consciousness possesses metacognition, the ability to be aware of our own awareness. When mismanaged, this creates an intricate psychological feedback loop. You get anxious about being anxious, or judge yourself for feeling angry, producing a pervasive feeling of living behind foggy glass. However, this same capacity is your liberation. The moment you use awareness to quietly notice the feedback loop without adding a single new thought, the loop breaks, revealing that you are the quiet space holding the drama. Most people act as the lead star in an endless series of chaotic internal plays, treating every thought as a major production. A vital shift occurs when you move from being the actor on stage to the audience member sitting calmly in the theater. Treat thoughts like ambient background chatter in a bustling cafe. You can register an angry or fearful thought without becoming an angry or fearful person. Thoughts are simply localized weather patterns moving across the unburnt, uncut sky of your mind. Anchoring in pure awareness requires no complex rituals, only continuous, gentle recentering. Just as driving eventually becomes fluid and second nature, abiding as awareness develops through simple moments of remembering. Throughout your day, whenever you notice a clenched jaw or a racing mind, drop the story and ask who is witnessing the tension. You do not need to construct awareness. You simply need to stop ignoring the presence that is already here. Unlike humans, animals naturally abide in presence. A cat resting on a sunny sill experiences no past regret or future anxiety. Buddhism encapsulates this across the four noble postures: walking, standing, sitting, and lying down. These postures encompass every human movement, demonstrating that any activity can be lived as a meditative practice. You do not need to sit cross-legged on a cushion for hours. You simply bring unhurried awareness to whichever posture your body occupies right now. People often fear that dropping mental chatter will plunge them into a terrifying, empty void where they lose their identity. This fear rests on an illusion. Pure awareness is not a dead vacuum, but a fertile, luminous fullness, like rich soil generating fresh life. Stepping back from automated thinking does not destroy your intellect. It turns thinking into a precision tool that you pick up deliberately when needed and set down peacefully when the work is complete. Awakening is not an act of acquisition, but an act of surrender. We are like someone frantically searching the house for reading glasses that are already resting on their nose. As this realization deepens, the boundary between observer and observed dissolves completely. Sight, sound, and thought are simply consciousness taking different shapes. You are not a fragile visitor standing on an alien planet, but the universe consciously experiencing itself, resting full, still, and deeply clear in the quiet hollow beneath the noise.